And our next storyteller is J.C. Coutts, who will be telling us about The Journey. J.C. is an award-winning radio and television host who lives in Port Elgin with his wife, Heather. When he's not talking on the radio or hosting an Owen Sound Attack game on RogersTV, he can often be found volunteering as a minor hockey coach or occasionally appearing in a Roxy production. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome J.C. Coutts.
You have to leave in order to be able to come back. That's the words of encouragement given to me just before I was about to leave the only place I ever wanted to be. It was August 2004, and I had just been offered my first full-time job in radio. It was a morning show in Timmins, which, as I was about to learn, was not in southern Ontario like I originally thought. Whoops. I was 21. I was about to go into my second year of radio college in Ottawa. There were a lot of things going through my mind at the time about whether or not this was the right opportunity for me. It was an opportunity that was a long shot. Just 3 years earlier, nobody even knew what my voice sounded like. But somehow the quiet guy that sat at the back of class, never said a word to anybody, started doing hockey play-by-play on TV. And from there I was hooked. Whatever I thought I was going to do with the rest of my life, that was out the window. I had never wanted anything much more in my life. And nobody, not anybody, not especially me, should be able to walk into their hometown radio station, ask for a job, and get one on the same day. But it happened to me on February 17th, 2002. It was my last day of high school and my first day of radio. There's an expression in our business called paying your dues. Sometimes that means working the overnight shift, trying to get a little bit better at your on-air performance. That shift no longer existed, so I was going to have to take on as much work as I possibly could and probably do the jobs that nobody else wanted. Jobs like setting up a remote broadcast at a furniture store on a Saturday morning so the talent could come in, do the show, and go home. Part of that meant I had to blow up balloons for 2 hours. There is nothing more anxiety-inducing than having an unsecured helium tank in a public place. You just never know. Is someone going to knock it over? Is it going to become a torpedo? It kind of led to me developing a fear of balloons. By the way, it's called globophobia, if you're wondering. There were some fun jobs, though. Jobs like producing Blue Jays broadcasts. I basically got paid to sit with my feet up on the desk and listen to the ball game. The Western road trips, they weren't so much fun. Those games would start at 10 o'clock at night, so I was up to 1 or 2 a.m. Then I would sleep on the floor of the studio, get up at 6 a.m., produce a whole other show, and then when that was done, it was time for the afternoon game. I pretty much lived at the radio station and never really met anything that I didn't want to do, which was part of the reason why this opportunity in Timmins was now standing in front of me. I had it all planned out, at least I thought I did. 8 months, maybe a year, then back to Ottawa. That turned into 3 years, thanks to a little bump in the road. There's a joke in our business that you haven't really made it until you've been fired. Got that one out of the way early. I was starting to think that I might never get out of Northern Ontario, but then opportunity came. There's a phone call from Peterborough. Opportunity to do an afternoon show, which meant no more getting up at 3 a.m. Already a win for me right there. And it also meant I get to pick and schedule the music for the station. That's an important job. Maybe someday could lead to management, which maybe then back to Ottawa? Not so fast. I love Peterborough, but I was about to be introduced to another of radio's unique experiences, getting laid off. See, the company I worked for got bought by a bigger company. Got to get the stock price to a certain point. Shareholders, you know how it goes. But luckily, anytime I ever got knocked down, I was able to dust myself off pretty quickly and land at a new radio station. This next one was in a place I did not even know existed, Wingham. I wasn't really sure what to think when I drove into town as a horse-drawn buggy was driving out. I know that that's common for Gray, Bruce, Huron, Perth, but for a kid from the Ottawa Valley, I thought I time traveled. I did not think I was going to be in Swing and Wingham for a long time, but then two things happened. Number one, I got promoted to program director. I was the boss. I was in charge of the station. At 27, I was one of the youngest in Canada. Number two, I met a girl. And this was going to be tough, because she was planning to go to Kitchener to continue her education, and I just got a call from Yellowknife. So off we went. She was still going to go to school, but at the end of 2011, we drove west. Would our 9-month-long relationship survive the 4-day drive through Western Canada? Would my Toyota Corolla make it towing a U-Haul? The good news is everything worked out. And by July of 2012, when I married that girl, I had already transferred to Alberta, and we were ready to start our new life there. For me, at this point, any career, life goals I thought I had, now looked a lot different than they did just 8 years earlier. I suppose if you ever get lucky enough to do anything for more than 20 years, eventually either you change or what you do changes. And I have tried on a few occasions to change what I do, but I always come back to this. And it's not for fame or fortune. Those were never guaranteed in this business. It's to be part of a community. It's to meet people, hear their stories, share their stories. I honestly can't think of any other job where I could have lived across Canada, got to live in amazing places, talk to people, and tell their stories. This is the only one. You have to leave in order to come back. You know, I never made it back there, but I made it back here. There's a quote from Conan O'Brien. It's always stuck with me. Nobody in life ever gets exactly what they thought they were going to get. But if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen. It inspired the way I end my radio show every day, and it's how I'll leave you today. Have fun, be safe, remember to be kind. I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.